ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया
शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन
तस्मै
तस्मै
श्रीगुरुवे नमः।
श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं
श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागणरघुनाथान्वितं सतं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमति भक्ति वेदांता स्वामीति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघायते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानंद माधवं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य ईश्वरं गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्ण भक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining. So we are reading Sri Isopanishad. We have read till mantra 5 and we have to read from mantra 6. So just very quick recap. Actually, Rekha Mataji sent me a very wonderful summary up till mantra 5 yesterday, and she will post it in the group. She wrote it very wonderfully, like she took it from the class, from the book, and she put together based like the sense, the summary points, the bullet points that we have to take from each verse, and we will share it in the document in the group. But just going back a couple of verses, mantra 3, we talked about that the importance of human life is that we have to spend it in self-realization. That is our greatest responsibility. So if we achieve self-realization, then we can help other people also in better way, in a spiritual way, not just in temporary way, in material way, but in spiritual way. We can deliver our dependence. We can really be God-centered, and we can be the representatives of the Lord while living on in this material world, and carry ourselves, conduct ourselves as the representatives of the Lord, so that the other people, the people that are distracted, that are deviated from Krishna, they will also be able to get back on the path of Godhead and not too consumed by the material distractions. So like all of you, it's spring break starting, but you are not consumed by material distractions. You're not so absorbed by the material world. You're here, God-centered, Krishna-centered, keeping, starting your day with in a Krishna conscious mood. So that's the mood of a proper devotee, that no matter what, uninterrupted, unmotivated devotional service should continue. So, and hearing Shravanam is the first process of that Navda Bhakti. So you're all very glorious who's paying time to spend, on Krishna conscious activities. And so then it said that people that are not doing those things, that are not God-centered, that are not spending time in self-realization, they are the killer of the souls, Atmaha, because they're just spending time in the material world, very consumed by it. And the material world will ultimately, it's temporary, and it will, like a bubble, it will burst. And so your time will be up, and soon the soul, the Atma, would have to move on to another body, and now it would get even a lower body. It would go to a lower planet, because you wasted your life in a precious human body, in a precious earthly planet. You wasted your life, so now you will get an asuric body, an asuric planet. That's the destination of the faithless, or people that are in darkness and ignorance of this material world. Then mantra 4 talked about Krishna, about the Lord, that such people are not able to understand Lord. They're not able to approach him. He's very far from them. He's fixed in his own abode. He is very inconceivable to them. So for them, he's just fixed in his abode. They cannot understand him. He says, I'm swifter than mind, and I can overcome all others running, yet I stay in my abode, situated in one place. Even demigods cannot approach him. And he operates this world through numerous energies and potencies. He has innumerable energies, innumerable shaktis with which he, operates this world. So then the next mantra we talked about how to know God if he's so inconceivable. Actually, sorry, we talked more about the inconceivable aspects of the Lord, that he can walk but does not walk. He's near, but he's far. He's within and without. So there are more inconceivable aspects of the Lord. So Achintya, Bhagwan is Achintya. I think all this is clear to everyone, right? Mantra 3, Mantra 4, and Mantra 5. Mantra 3 is about Atmahas. Mantra 4 is about how Lord is inconceivable. Mantra 5 also is about how Lord is inconceivable. Mantra 6 and 7 will now be about the devotees. Okay? About the devotees. So now, how can we see the God? If he's so inconceivable, how can we perceive the Lord? So mantra 6, the key word that I have used is anupashyati, that you have to observe systematically. And the mantra 7 says ekatvam. What do you have to see? You have to see your oneness in the quality with the Lord, that how spirit soul is same in quality with the Lord. So ekatvam, oneness in the quality, that we are same tattva, we are same spiritual tattva, same spiritual nature of the spirit soul as well as of the super soul or Bhagwan or Paramatma. They're all same in quality. And you have to observe that systematically. So, so the verse 6 and 7 will talk about now the devotees. Okay. So let's do these two verses. Who wants to, let's recite these actually. So we'll recite both these verses and then we'll take their translations together. Shri Isopanishad, verse 6. यस्तु सर्वाणि भूतानि यस्तु
यस्तु
सर्वाणि
सर्वाणि भूतानि
आत्मनि एवानुपश्यति
आत्मनि एवानुपश्यति
सर्वभूतेषु चात्मानं
सर्वभूतेषु चात्मानं
ततो न विजुगुप्सते ततो न
ततो न
विजुगुप्सते
विजुगुप्सते
यस्मिन् सर्वाणि भूतानि
यस्मिन् सर्वाणि भूतानि
आत्मेवाभूद्विजानता
आत्मैवाभूद्विजानता
तत्र को मोहका शोका तत्र
तत्र को मोहका शोका
एकत्वम् अनुपश्यता
एकत्वम् अनुपश्यता.
Okay, so let's read the translations. See the very common style of both these verses. Yastu Sarvani Bhutani. So both these verses are talking about the qualities of a Mahabhagavad devotee, of a pure devotee of the Lord, of a supreme Vaishnav, of a Uttam Bhagavad devotee, okay, Uttam Adhikari. So these two verses are talking about the qualities of a pure devotee or an Uttam Adhikari, okay. So this is actually very, very important for us to understand because these apply to us. Because before we were talking about the Lord, and everybody knows that Lord is inconceivable. Bhagwan achinte hain, ye to sabko pata hai. Lekin what are the qualities of the devotees? What level am I? Am I very, very inferior, very, very low class devotee? Or am I medium, intermediate class devotee? Or am I first class devotee? So, क्या मैं कनिष्ठ हूँ, क्या मैं मध्यम हूँ, क्या मैं उत्तम हूँ? So that we will understand from these two verses. These two verses are giving us the vision of the Uttam Adhikari or the topmost, the first class devotees. Okay, who are how do the first class devotees look at this world? Okay, so please pay attention. Let's read these two translations. So who wants to read this verse 6? Please keep reading. We have a lot to
I can
cover.
read.
Yes.
He who systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, who sees all living entities as his parts and parcels, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being.
Very good. Let's read the next one
Good.
also. Then we will read purport after that. So please
Okay.
quickly take turns. Uske baad. Maybe we can read 2 paras each because there are not many people and the lag is a lot in between. So let's take both these translations together, then we'll read the purport. Who wants to read this translation?
I can just continue.
Yes.
One who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks, in quality one with the Lord, becomes a true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for him?
Very bold. So in this mantra 6, okay, so look at these few words I want you to pay attention to. Atmani. Atmani is a very important word. Please fix it in your memory because it is repeated in Bhagavatam also, where the qualities of a Uttam Bhagavat or pure devotee, Uttam Adhikari are given. Atmani word is very often used. Atmani means in relation to the Supreme, which means when we walk about in this world and we see everything in relation to the Supreme, then we are a pure devotee of the Lord. Eva anupashyati. Whoever has this vision, whoever systematically sees this type of whoever has this type of understanding, whoever systematically sees people in this way, things in this way, anyone and everything he sees in relationship with the Lord, that person is a pure devotee of the Lord. Okay, so Atmani means in relation with the Supreme. Okay, just think about Prabhupada. If you ever have to think about a pure devotee, think about Prabhupada, how he would see everything in relation with the Supreme. If somebody gave him any idea, any unique, new, modern technology or anything, he would see how to use this in relationship with the Supreme. So if he had anything or anyone, any hippie, any foreigner, any Indian, anybody came to him, he would see how this person can be used in service of Krishna. What is his relationship to Krishna? So he always saw everyone in relation to the Supreme. If we develop this type of vision, then we will become a pure devotee. Okay, so this is the topmost understanding of a pure devotee. And all living entities, Sarvani Bhutani, okay, Sarva Bhuteshu Chatmanam. He sees Supreme Lord, he sees everyone as the part and parcels of Supreme Lord. Okay, in every living being, he's seeing Supreme Super Soul, and he's seeing everybody as the part and parcel of the Super Soul. Okay, so he sees Atmanam in the third line means Super Soul. So he sees Super Soul within everyone, and he sees every living entities as the part and parcel of the Lord. Tato na vijugupsate. He does not hate anyone or anything. Okay, he will not hate anything or any being. So that person will not have any hatred because he's seeing everyone in relation to Krishna. Okay. So this is the mantra 6 that we have to do today. Mantra 7. Now look at these words here. Mantra 7 says, again, Sarvani Bhutani, all living entities. We're not talking about only humans. We're not talking about only men. We're not talking about only Indians, only whites or only blacks. No, none of that. No, not only Hindus. No, this is talking about Sarvani Bhutani, all living entities. Whatever body they are in now does not matter, whether they are male, female, educated, illiterate, wealthy, poor, Indian, American, black, white, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, none of that matters. None of the bodily considerations apply. Sarvani Bhutani, okay? So whoever understands everyone to be a Atmaiva, look at how Prabhupada has translated this word. Atma, we know Atma means spirit soul. Prabhupada has translated it as Chit Karn. Chit Karn. This I had never seen before. Chit Karn means the one that is the Karna or a small part of the supreme whole. Okay, Chit Karna, the one who has the quality of spiritual, of the Chit. So that is the Chit Karna or the spiritual spark, like a small spark from a big fire. Okay, so if Krishna is the supreme whole, then we are his Karna, we are his part, we are the spark, and he's the fire. So we have the spirit, we are the spiritual spark. This body contains a spiritual spark which keeps the body going. So Atma, the Chitkan, whoever sees all the living entities as the spiritual spark, okay? Ekatvam. So now look at these two words. Ekatvam anupashyata. In the last verse, we read this word anupashyati. Systematically sees all living beings one in quality. Ekatvam means one in quality with the Supreme. That person can have no moha, meaning no illusion or attachment, and no shoka or lamentation. So that person cannot have undue attachment or anxiety or fear or lamentation. Okay. For which person? This is another quality of a Uttam Adhikari, of a pure devotee, that he sees everyone is the same quality as the Supreme, oneness in quality. He sees everyone as a spiritual spark, as the Chit Kana, as the part and parcel of the Supreme. Anupashyata. Whoever sees like this will have no more, no shoka, and in the last verse it said he will have no hatred. Vijukupsate, no hatred for anyone. So now that we have this understanding, let's read the purport. We may only be able to read the purports today and then discuss this verse in detail the next time. We'll see. But let's start reading. Please read at least the first paragraph. Please take turns to keep reading.
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. This is a description of Mahabhagavata, the great personality who sees everything in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord's presence is realized in three stages. The Kanishta Adhikari is in the lowest stage of realization. He goes to place of worship such as temple, church, or mosque according to his religious faith and worship there according to the spiritual injunction. Devotees in this stage consider Lord to be present at the place of worship and nowhere else. They cannot ascertain who is in what position in devotional service, nor can they tell who has realized the Supreme Lord. Such devotees follow the routine formulas and sometimes quarrel among themselves, considering one type of devotion better than other. These Kanishta Adhikaris are actually materialistic devotees who are simply trying to transcend the material boundary to reach the spiritual plane. Haribol.
Mataji, keep reading. Can you read one more?
Yes, Mataji. Those who have attained the second stage of realization are called Madhyama Adhikaris. These devotees observe the distinction between four categories of being: the Supreme Lord, the devotees of Lord, the innocent, who have no knowledge of Lord, and for the atheists who have no faith in the Lord and hate those in devotional service. The Madhyama Adhikari behaves differently towards these four classes of persons. He adores Lord, considering him the object of love. He makes friends with those who are in devotional service. He tries to awaken the dormant love of God in the hearts of innocent, and he avoids the atheists who deride the very name of the Lord. Haribol.
People. So for now, we'll keep reading. I just want you to look at the qualities of the Kanishta and Madhyam Adhikari, then we will discuss them. And I have nice flow charts and proper differences between them. So for now, we'll just keep reading. Please keep अपने दिमाग में बैठाते रहिए ये जो हम पढ़ रहे हैं qualities of the Kanishta and Madhyam Adhikari. Just keep thinking about them. So who wants to read the next two paragraphs? Amrinder Prabhu, are you available to read?
Mataji, I will not be able to read today. I am a bit at noisy place, so yeah.
Sure, no problem. Okay. Would let's see, my mom is here, and is that mom or is that Neelam Mataji from Memphis?
It's me. It's me,
Okay.
beta.
Okay. Would you like to read this next two?
Yeah, I'll read. Abba The Madhya Adhikari is the Uttam Adhikari who sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee does not discriminate between an atheist and a theist, but sees everyone as part and parcel of God. He knows that there is no essential difference between a vastly learned Brahmin and a dog in the street because both of them are part and parcel of the Lord, although they are engaged in different bodies on account of the different qualities of their activities in their previous lives. He sees that the Brahman particle of the Supreme Lord has not misused his little independence given him by the Lord, and that the dog particle has misused his independence and is therefore being punished by the laws of the nature by being encaged in the form of a dog. Not considering the respective actions of the Brahman and the dog, the Uttam Adhikari tries to do good to both. Such a learned devotee is not misled by material bodies, but is attracted by the spiritual spark within them. Those who imitate an Uttam Adhikari by flaunting a sense of oneness or fellowship, but who behave on the bodily platform, are actually false philanthropists. The conception of universal brotherhood must be learned from an Uttam Adhikari and not from a foolish person who does not properly understand the individual soul or the Supreme Lord's super soul expansion who dwells everywhere. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for reading. Okay, we'll keep reading a little bit more. Who wants to read the next paragraph?
Yes. Hare Krishna. It is clearly mentioned in this sixth mantra that one should observe or systematically see. This means that one must follow the previous acharyas, the perfected teachers. Anupasyati is the exact Sanskrit word used in this connection. Anu means to follow, pasyati means to observe. Thus, the word anupasyati means that one should not see things as he does with the naked eye, but should follow the previous acharyas. Due to material defects, the naked eye cannot see anything properly. One cannot see properly unless one has heard from the supreme source. And the higher source is the Vedic wisdom, which is spoken by the Lord himself. Vedic truths are coming in disciplic succession from the Lord to the Brahma, from Brahma to Narada, from Narada to Vyasa, and from Vyasa to his many disciples. Formerly, there was no Brahma, there was no need to record the messages of the Vedas because people in earlier ages were more intelligent and had sharper memories. They could follow the instructions simply by hearing once from the mouth of a bona fide spiritual master.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Thank you, Haribol. Thank you for reading. So if you look at this purport, we still have 2 more paras to go, but if you look at this purport, Prabhupada has taken 2 main points, okay? The first main point is 3 types of devotees. Now this verse is giving us the qualities of a Mahabhagavad devotee. A Mahabhagavad devotee is one who sees all living entities in relation to the Supreme as part and parcel of the Supreme. Atmani means in relation with the Supreme. And who understands, who sees the Supreme in everyone, who sees the Supreme Lord within everyone and everyone as the part and parcel of Supreme. That person cannot hate anything or anyone. So this is the vision of a perfect devotee. So Prabhupada has taken the qualities of 3 types of devotees: Uttam Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari. Then he's discussed this word Anupashyati. The last paragraph that we just read talks about Anupashyati. that how can one develop this vision? How or what does this vision entail? How can one have this vision, and what does this vision entail? So he's saying we can have this vision by submitting to another Uttam Adhikari who also have submitted to somebody before them. So in the line of Guru Shishya Parampara coming down from Krishna, in the disciplic succession, everybody surrenders to the one above them. They serve and they surrender and they submit humbly to the Guru above them. And that Uttam Adhikari then imparts them the knowledge by which they can also have the same vision. And what is the vision? The vision is that Supreme Lord is present within all living entities, and that all living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme, and they should be seen in relation to the Supreme. Okay. Now there is a very detailed, very nice understanding of this concept. What does it mean to see something in relation to Supreme? So we'll discuss that later. But taking the first part of the purport, the three types of devotees. Kanishta Adhikari, Prabhupada is saying, this is based on the stage of realization. Okay. This division between Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam is given in two main scriptures. Okay. The one is Rup Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, and the other is Srimad Bhagavatam. I will show you the verses from both. And both of these verses are then put together by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we have to really understand this because Rup Goswami also in Nectar of Instruction tells us that we have to have this understanding so that first of all, we can evaluate ourselves on what level we are and try to go to the next level. Because spiritual advancement is, just like in material world, sky is the limit. In spiritual world, spiritual sky is the limit. We have to get to spiritual sky. We cannot get to spiritual sky unless we become a pure devotee of the Lord. So we have to keep upgrading ourselves. So this classification is not to evaluate others. This classification is to evaluate yourself. This is a basic fundamental principle of reading scriptures, that whatever rules you are reading, whatever restrictions, limitations, rules you are reading in scriptures, you do not apply on others. You apply on yourself. So that's the first point to understand. Whenever you look at these various qualities of people, don't think about somebody else. Oh, he does not have those qualities, or he has those. Think about yourself. How can I cultivate those qualities? And if you read about something bad, some anartha, some impurities, don't think that, oh, that person has that impurity. No, think about how I have those impurities and how I can remove the last trace of that impurity from within me. So the scriptures are to upgrade yourself, not to upgrade other people. You can upgrade other people only once you have, really upgraded yourself. So this classification is not to judge other people, that so and so person is Kanishta or Madhyam or Uttam or what. This classification is to judge where do I stand and how do I get to the next level. So according to the stage of realization, according to your Shraddha or faith, according to your attachment to Krishna, according to your humility, according to your level of knowledge, according to your detachment or virakti, according to your level of purity, sincerity, steadiness in devotional service, these classification is made. So higher the Shraddha, higher the love, the attachment, the purity, the sincerity, the steadiness, the steadfastness, more the knowledge, more the detachment, more the humility, higher you are. The more you are the Uttam Adhikari, and you will have this type of vision. Okay. The less we have the Shraddha, the attachment to Krishna, more absorption in the material world, less hankering to read scriptures, less knowledge, very much attachment to the material world, and no detachment, and very much impurities of this world, no sincerity, no steadfastness, no steadiness, criticism, fault finding, just looking at externals, all those things, then we are neophyte. We are Kanishta Adhikari. So neophyte or Kanishta Adhikari is the lowest stage of realization. So so in the first paragraph, Prabhupada is saying that the Kanishta Adhikari is somebody who worships according to his faith and understanding. So whatever faith or understanding he has developed, his faith and understanding is very poor, very low. And from that, he will worship. He will submit to the Lord, but not to the devotees. So he will come to the temple and he thinks that Lord is present in the temple and the deity, but he will disregard the devotees. That's why you see, when we go to the temple, there is so much jostling and pushing around because people are ready to take darshan of the deity, but in that jostling about, they are, offending so many other devotees. So they don't care so much about offenses to the devotees. They don't care so much about the devotees. You will see that there is a class going on in the temple and they will go straight to the altar and just pay obeisances at the altar, not paying obeisances to any of the devotees that have gathered there. So that's a very low class understanding. So these people, their faith is also very soft, very pliable. They're very easy to get distracted by the material world on a very elementary platform. They are also, Bhagavatam calls them Prakrita Bhakta or materialistic devotee. Prabhupada has also mentioned this term called materialistic devotees. They are actually, here Prabhupada is saying they're actually materialistic devotees, and Bhagavatam says Prakrita Bhakta. So their knowledge is also very low. If somebody is, arguing with them, let's say, they cannot defend the Shastras, they cannot defend their gurus, they cannot defend the Acharyas. They cannot support with Shastric references, and they're more likely to get swayed by what the other person is saying, and uski haan mein haan milane lag jayenge. So they do not understand the subtle concepts and moods of the scriptures, of the gurus, the subtleties, the moods, the emotions. They don't understand those too much. Their understanding is very gross and superficial sort of. And they judge people by the externals more. कि white body है, brown body है, या इन्होंने ये ऐसे कपड़े डाले हैं, वैसे कपड़े डाले हैं, गंदे हैं, मैले हैं, आयन नहीं है. इस तरह के external features पे they will go more. And these people tend to be most arrogant. So this is, again, our Guru Maharaj says, paradoxically, as you go up, your humility increases. As your knowledge increases, vidya dadati vinayam, right? So as your knowledge increases, your humility increases. But these people have very gross understanding, not the subtle understanding, but they tend to be more arrogant, and they may show humility, but the humility may just be a show of humility, fake humility, not a genuine, sincere humility from inside. So they are not very pure. They're not very purified devotees. And I'll show you some verses that will tell you more. Actually, we have to do many, many verses that I want to show you. Then the second paragraph talks about Madhyam Adhikari. Madhyam Adhikari are very much advanced than neophyte. Madhyam Adhikaris are the ones that will preach the scriptures or the Guru's Vani to others. They will try to bring people towards on the spiritual path, on Krishna conscious path. So, but this is their main qualification. They are on the intermediate or medium platform. What is their main qualification? They are able to distinguish between 4 types of people. Okay. Now you might say, अभी तो आपने बोला कि किसी में distinction नहीं करनी, सबको एक जैसा समझना, everybody is part and parcel of the Lord. Everybody has super soul or Paramatma within. Now you are saying that they distinguish, and this distinction is helpful. This distinction is helpful in the dealings with the people, in the external dealings or preaching to the people. Okay. So a materialistic person, when he looks at other people and judges them from their external features, he exploits them. Okay. He discriminates between them in such a way that he suppresses other people. Okay. He has a bias inside him. Okay. So he cannot see the presence of super soul within them. Madhyam Adhikari can see the presence of super soul within everyone, but he knows that different people have different upbringings and previous perceptions and experiences and knowledge, and not all of them will be able to come to the path of Krishna consciousness or spirituality. So he has a different conduct. Internally he's sane, but externally he deals with them differently. How does he deal with them differently? With the Supreme Lord, he has love. So 4 words I want you to remember. Say 4 words. Please, everybody pay attention. This concept will keep coming and will help you a lot, because we all want to find a guru. We all go on different, sadhu sangas and various dham yatras, and we should be able to have perfect dealings. If you have this and we have to rise to the level of Madhyam Adhikari. So we really need to understand the mood of a Madhyam Adhikari. So there are 4 words I want you to remember. Prem, okay, ya love. Friendship, okay, mitrata, friendship. Mercy या दया, okay, and then indifference या फिर avoid करना, मतलब disregard करना, indifference. Okay, so 4 words I want you to remember: love, friendship, mercy, and indifference. So with the Supreme Lord and pure devotees of the Lord, like Guru Tattvas, the Madhyam Adhikari will have prem. Okay, these are the people you give your heart to. You give your heart to Bhagwan and his best representatives like the Gurus, okay, like the Uttam Adhikaris, like Prabhupada and our Guru Varga. You give your heart to those people. Okay, for them you should have love. For the devotees of the Lord, devotees मतलब जो हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म पे हैं, सेम प्लेटफॉर्म पे हैं, जैसे they are well situated in devotional service. Okay, they are diligently performing, steadily performing the various limbs of devotional service. One way or the other, they are engaged in spiritual activities or service activities. With them, you should have friendship. उनके साथ मित्रता होनी चाहिए, friendship होनी चाहिए. Okay, so Madhyam Adhikari has this vision. So please understand the vision of each Adhikari. Madhyam Adhikari has this vision, and this is the vision we are trying to cultivate. For gurus and for Bhagwan, prem, love. For people that are nicely situated, firmly situated, which are the devotees of the Lord, you should have friendship or mitrata, okay? Third is the people that have no knowledge of the Lord, meaning, or some knowledge, like neophytes, let's say, okay? No knowledge or some knowledge, simple people, innocent people. These are the people that are favorable towards bhakti, but they're just not been introduced yet. Simple people. To those you should preach. To those Madhyam Adhikari will preach. To those Madhyam Adhikari will show favor and mercy. So these people are adhikari for mercy. ठीक है, किन लोगों को मर्सी का अधिकार है? जो सिंपल होते हैं, जो बहुत ज्यादा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं होते, इनोसेंट होते हैं, फेवरेबल होते हैं फॉर प्रीचिंग. दे विल सबमिसिवली सिट एंड हियर. Those people you should preach, you should favor them, grant them favors, give them service opportunities, and show them mercy in this way. Okay, then Madhyam Adhikari will avoid or disregard or show indifference to people that are atheistic. Okay, that people that are envious, जो भगवान के लिए offenders होते हैं, जो भगवान या devotees के लिए के against अपराध करते रहते हैं, बार बार अपराध करते रहते हैं. They are atheistic people. They have no faith in the Lord and or in the devotees. Okay, they don't have faith in the spiritual path, and so they are envious people. So we should avoid, or Madhyam Adhikari should avoid or disregard these atheistic people. So these are the 4 types of people that Madhyam Adhikari sees in the world. So for Madhyam Adhikari, those people that are simple or innocent, they are the target. Like when you go to book distribution, when you go for preaching, they will be able to sense, they will be able to test the water and sense by just some conversation. This person is very averse. Very averse. Guru Maharaj says averse means somebody who's against verse, जिनको भगवान के वर्स या वर्ड्स से प्रॉब्लम है, ऐसे लोगों से दूर रहते हैं. So Madhyam Adhikari will keep himself away from such people. Okay, but simple people he will show favor, he will preach them, he will give them mercy. Okay, he will engage them. So he will behave differently towards these 4 classes. Okay, and he himself is convinced. उसको convince नहीं करना पड़ेगा. Neophyte devotee has a komal shraddha, soft and pliable faith. But Madhyam Adhikari is convinced. He is on a stronger platform. His faith is confirmed. He's situated in this path. He's not going to go away. Okay, he's going to stay here. Now, he's not able to see Bhagwan in all living. He's not able to see Paramatma in all living beings. He's not Uttam Adhikari. But he has this type of vision, जो भी हमने बताया. He's also very scripturally knowledgeable, so he can support through shastric references. He has deep understanding, so he has more subtle understanding of the mood and the emotions, and he can support through shastric references various allegations or arguments presented by the people. Okay, sometimes people will present allegations. Neophyte will not be able to support. जैसे हमने वो मूवी देखी थी ना, केरला स्टोरी, उसमें वो लेडी कुछ कुछ बोल के उनको बहका रही थी कि तुम्हारे भगवान रोते हैं, ये कुछ कुछ लोग एलिगेशन ऐसे कुछ भी बोलते हैं. a Madhyam Adhikari will be able to support with not only references, verses, songs, stories, with the Guru Vani, he will be able to very firmly support the viewpoint of the scriptures of the Bhagwan. That is the Madhyam and the Kanishta Adhikari. And Uttam Adhikari is the highest platform. He is the self-realized soul. He knows that he's completely submitted to Krishna, surrendered to Krishna. He knows that he's an eternal servant of the Krishna, and he's all the time looking to spread Krishna consciousness. He devises various ways to spread Krishna consciousness. Atmani, he sees the whole world only in relation to Krishna. सारी दुनिया भगवान के रिलेशन में ही देखता है, वो भगवान की सेवा में कैसे किसको लगाना है, किसी व्यक्ति को, किसी चीज को. जैसे प्रभुपाद हैं, यूएस आए तो यूएस में भी सबको भगवान में लगा दिया, और वृंदावन में बैठे हैं तो वहां पे भी लगा दिया, पुरी जाएंगे तो वहां भी लगा देंगे, और बंगाल में है तो वहां पे भी लगा देंगे. So they can devise means to spread Krishna consciousness. They can use everything and everyone in service of Krishna. They're always engaged in service, even if they're going on their professional duties or their family related duties or homely domestic duties. They're still engaged only in Krishna's service. And they not only have deep understanding of scriptures, they have realizations of scriptures. तो नियोफाइट जो था उसकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग बहुत सुपरफिशियल थी, उसको बहुत ग्रॉस अंडरस्टैंडिंग थी, सटल अंडरस्टैंडिंग नहीं थी, वो सपोर्ट नहीं कर सकता विद शास्त्रिक रेफरेंसेस. जो मध्यम अधिकारी था उसकी डीपर अंडरस्टैंडिंग थी, वो सपोर्ट कर सकता है, वो आर्ग्यूमेंट्स और एलिगेशंस में खड़ा रह सकता है. उत्तम अधिकारी को नॉट ओनली डीप एंड ग्रॉस एंड सारी तरह की अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, सटल अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, बट ऑल्सो ही हैज रियलाइज्ड, he has realizations, he has उनको भगवत दर्शन हुआ है while living in this world. भगवत दर्शन कैसे होता है? थ्रू द रियलाइजेशन. यानी कि भगवान आपके सामने आके आपका हाथ पकड़ के बैठे हैं, यू गेट रियलाइजेशंस, तो उनको रियलाइजेशंस होती हैं भगवान की. And so that person can convert many fallen souls. जैसे मध्यम अधिकारी तो ये डिस्टिंक्शन कर रहा है ना चार लोगों के बीच में. Uttam Adhikari will not distinguish between these four people. He can convert even the atheists into, even the most fallen people into the devotees of the Lord. Again, think Prabhupada, okay? Think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, think Nityanand Prabhu, think Advaita Acharya, think all the Goswamis, think about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, think about all these pure devotees. They can convert any fallen soul. Think about Lord Shiva, who, Shivratri hai aaj, so think about Lord Shiva, who gives shelter to all the ghosts and goblins, hobgoblins, जिनका कोई नहीं होता, उनके ये भगवान के सबसे प्योर devotees होते हैं. उत्तम अधिकारी उन लोगों के लिए होते हैं. They can give shelter to these people, like ghosts and goblins of this world. जैसे प्रभुपाद ने hippies को तार दिया, right? So they can engage anyone in service and can convert many fallen souls. So they have this concept of universal brotherhood. So Prabhupada is saying that this concept of universal brotherhood must be learned. So now you understand this paragraph must be learned from an Uttam Adhikari, okay? Not from people who are just posing to be pure. So there are politicians or celebrities or philanthropic people that do very charitable activities. They are doing all those activities on the mundane bodily platform. They do not have this Bhagavad Sakshatkar. They don't have any deep or subtle understanding of the scriptures or of the moods of Bhagwan and moods of the Guru Tattva. They do not understand those things. They tend to discriminate, but Uttam Adhikari does not discriminate. He sees everyone is part and parcel of the Lord, and he can apply this concept of universal brotherhood. So from that person we should understand this conception of universal brotherhood. उनको ऐसा नहीं लगता कि इसके पास क्यों जाऊं, ये तो क्रिश्चियन है, ये हमारी भगवद गीता नहीं लेगा, ये तो सफेद है, ये काला है, ये तो लेडी है, ये कुछ नहीं. उनको ऐसा कोई वो कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं है. There is a concept of universal brotherhood. So only those Mahabhagwat, Uttam Bhagwat devotees can convert this whole world into the home of the Lord. जैसे प्रभुपाद के बारे में बोलते हैं कि he made this whole world a temple where everybody can live happily. So wherever you go, there is a temple of Krishna devotees. So this is the vision of the Anupashyati. This is the vision of these Mahabhagwat devotees. I want to show you some slides. Can we read? Let me see. तो पढ़ लिया ना हमने. Let's read who can read the next two paragraphs, and then I'll show you some slides for this verse. Please volunteer to read. Rekha Mataji, you want to go again?
Yes, Mataji, I'll read this, and then afterwards I have to, in
Sure.
10 minutes I have to get off.
Okay, I think you can finish off these two in 10 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. At present, there are many commentaries on the revealed scriptures, but most of them are not in the line of disciplic succession coming from Srila Vyasadeva, who originally compiled the Vedic wisdom. The final, most perfect, and the sublime work by Srila Vyasadeva is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. There is also Bhagavad Gita, which was spoken by the Lord Himself and recorded by Vyasadeva. These are the most important revealed scriptures, and any commentary that contradicts the principle of Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam is unauthorized. There is a complete agreement among Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam, and no one should try to reach any conclusion about Vedas without receiving instructions from the member of Vyasadeva's disciplic succession, who believe in the personality of Godhead and his diverse energies as they are explained in Sri Isopanishad. Sorry, I cannot pronounce that. According to Bhagavad Gita 18.54, only one who is already on a liberated platform, Brahmabhuta, can become an Uttamadhikari, devotee, and see every living being as his own brother. This vision cannot be had by politicians who are always after some material gain. One who imitates the symptoms of Uttamadhikari may serve another's outward body for the purpose of fame or material reward, but he does not serve the spirit soul. So, such an imitator can have no information of the spiritual world. The Uttama Adhikari sees the spirit soul within the material body and serves him as spirit. Thus, the material aspect is automatically served. Haribol.
Haribol. Thank you, Mataji, for reading. Now let me show you the verses which describe these aspects of the three types of devotees. So this is actually very important understanding to have, because this concept of Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttam Adhikari will keep coming over and over. So I really want everyone to be well versed with this concept. So this is the two verses that we covered. We talked about Atmani word. Atmani means in relation to Supreme. Anupashyati means to systematically see. So in last few paragraphs, Prabhupada covered how do we see systematically? Through the vision of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam as given by Krishna or Brahmaji himself. Okay. So to systematically see with the transcendental vision. Matlab to see not with the charma chakshu, but with the jnana chakshu or prema chakshu. So you have to train yourself. Just like, like my mom is a radiologist here. So she is able to see certain things on the x-rays or ultrasound that anybody who's not trained to see cannot see. So these uttam adhikaris are able to anupashyati, systematically see, because they have the training. Okay, so they can perceive the presence of Lord within anything and everything because they have the training. Where did the training come from? Just like we have our books and teachers and we went to a school, they also went to the spiritual school. They have their guru, they have their books. And by submissively serving them, because in spiritual path, not by just your own effort, but also by mercy, by daya, by seva, you are able to achieve the gyan. Divya gyan hriday prakashito. Divya gyan hriday mein prakashit hota hai. So by reading these scriptures, by submissively serving and hankering for the mercy of their Guru and Bhagwan, they have been given this Divya Gyan, this knowledge by which now they have this training by which they can see what nobody else can see. So think about like any field, not only like medical field, but think about any field. If there is a cook or a very chef, he will be able to tell the difference between a nicely cooked dish versus if there are some deficiencies, he will be able to detect, because he has a trained palate. He can detect subtle differences that a regular ordinary person may not be able to detect. अगर कोई gardener है, कोई माली है, तो वो देख लेगा कि कौन सा प्लांट खराब होने से पहले ही उसको पता चल जाएगा इसमें कुछ प्रॉब्लम होने लग गई है इस प्लांट में, है ना, वो उसको वो डिटेक्ट कर लेगा. So certain things, the expert people that are expert in that field are able to they're trained, so they're able to train you. So that's why Prabhupada is saying submit to an uttam adhikari, surrender to an uttam adhikari, and they can also give you this gyan. So unhone dekha hai, anupashyati. Anu means, Prabhupada said, anu means to follow, and pashyati means to see, to follow the great acharyas and to train to see according to their vision is anupashyati. So in this way you should train yourself. And atmani means in relation to supreme, and ekatvam, ye next words ka word hai. I will not take it today because we don't have time. I just want you to focus on these two words. Acha, atmani word kyun important? I was telling you that atmani word is very important. Atmani in relation to supreme is important because think about it. If you see somebody in relation with someone, that person's value changes. I'll give you an example. If there is a woman on the street, okay, if a lusty man sees her alone, he may have lusty feelings for her, okay, he may want to exploit her. But if he sees her in relation with her, let's say, father or husband there, then his vision will change. So then he will see her as, somebody's maintaining her, somebody is her authority. So in this way, his vision will change. So instead of exploiting, that same person may now be more submissive. Similarly, in this world, if we see jivas separate from the Lord, we have exploitative tendency. People tend to hurt each other, harm each other. That's how all this animal slaughter happens, because we are seeing them separate from the Lord. If we see them as the property of the Lord, then we will not be able to exploit them. Rather, we will serve them. Rather, we will not look at them to enjoy for ourselves. Then we will want to treat them nicely, treat them well, because that person belongs to somebody very powerful, somebody very superior. ऐसी तरीके से कोई child है, if a child is with their parents, he will not be exploited. But if a child is alone, people tend to exploit the child. But as soon as an authoritative figure comes, their parent comes, like Nimai ki life mein hua tha, if you remember that past time, those two thieves came and ran off with Nimai or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right, when he was a kid. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to khair Bhagwan hai, उनको घुमा फिरा के अपने घर ही वापस ले आए. As soon as Mother Shachi and Jagannath Mishra came and they saw their son, they thought that their son was lost and these people are bringing him home. तो उन्होंने उनको जैसे ही देखा इन्होंने कि ये तो इनके पेरेंट्स आ गए, फटाफट से बच्चे को छोड़ा और भाग गए, because now they saw authority. So when you understand that everybody is under the authority of Supreme Lord, you will not be able to hurt them or try to enjoy them separately or exploit them. That's why this word Atmani is important, because you have to see everyone in relation to Supreme. Similarly, Mother Nature, we see that for her our exploitation, इसलिए we do so much damage to Mother Nature. Oceans को pollute करना, rivers को pollute करना, trees को काटना, so many things we do. But if we see nature as an extension of the God, as expansion from the Lord, you will not be able to hurt her. ऐसी कोई पेट एनिमल है, अगर कोई पेट एनिमल और एक ये जो स्ट्रीट एनिमल होता है, गली का कुत्ता, उसमें क्या फर्क है? पेट एनिमल एज अ मास्टर, इफ यू नोबडी विल, पेट एनिमल की कितने अच्छे से केयर की जाती है, नोबडी विल डेयर टू हार्म दैट एनिमल. एक बार मुझे याद है, मैं मेट्रो में जा रही थी, किसी ने किसी के पेट को ऐसे किक किया था, इतनी बुरी तरह लड़ाई हो गई थी. लेकिन अगर कोई स्ट्रीट के एनिमल को किक करता है, जैसे हम पुरी में जा रहे थे, पुरी में इतने सारे स्ट्रीट डॉग्स थे, कोई भी उसके ऊपर से चला गया कुछ भी, nobody cares. Nobody is there to protect those street animals. But pet animal has a master who's watching. So if you understand that Lord is watching because they're all his children, then you will not be able to exploit them. And that is the vision a Uttam Adhikari have. So understand this vision of Uttam Adhikari. Now I will quickly give you within the next 10 minutes the 3 types of devotees. These verses come from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and this was the understanding given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatan Goswami. Please hear very carefully. So the three classes of devotees are based on their Shraddha. Shraddha Shabde Vishwasa Kahe Sudrida Nishchaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krit Haya. So Shraddha, so he says there are three types of devotees. One becomes qualified as a devotee based on their Shraddha. Shraddhavan Janahaya Bhakti Adhikari Uttam Madhyama Kanishta Shraddha Anusari. So according to their Shraddha, Shraddha ke anusar, there are three types of bhakta, Uttam, Madhyam and Kanishta Adhikari. This knowledge is given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Sanatan Goswami. Okay, he's saying this division is based on the Shraddha or the faith. Okay. So yoga, Uttam, Madhyam, Kanishta, Shraddha Anusari. Okay. According to one's faith, one is classified as a topmost devotee, intermediate devotee, and an inferior devotee. I have given the reference here from CC Madhya 22, chapter 64th verse. So we'll keep reading them. Ya Jahara Komal Shraddha Se Kanishta Jana Krame Krame Teno Bhakta Haibe Uttama Yo Bhavet Komal Shraddha Sa Kanishta Nigdyate. So one whose faith is soft and pliable is called neophyte. Komal Shraddha, Jahara Komal Shraddha. Who has Komal Shraddha? Say Kanishta Jana. But krame krame, sequentially, serially, systematically, they have to become, he will rise to the platform of first class devotee. Systematically, if he also keeps systematically training himself, anupashyati, अगर वो भी अपने आप को ट्रेन करता रहेगा, है ना, जैसे हम इस दुनिया में अपने आप को ट्रेन करते हैं for various material skills. We train ourselves in medicine and in music and in dancing and in sports and in painting and everything. We train ourselves. जो train करता रहेगा, he will sequentially become haibe uttama, first class devotee बनेगा. One whose faith is not very strong, jo bhavet komal shraddha sa kanishta nigadyate. That should be considered a neophyte devotee. Okay, this is verse 69 and 70 of the same chapter. Then, what does Mahaprabhu says? How this devotee, neophyte devotee, is a prakrita bhakta, okay, or materialistic devotee. This devotee is very low class, so he's a prakrita bhakta. Archayam eva hare, sorry, archayam eva hare pujam ya shraddhaye hate na tad bhakteshu chaneshu sa bhakta prakrita smrita. ये भक्त प्राकृता भक्ता है. कौन? मटीरियलिस्टिक डिवोटी है. Who, okay, now look at these qualities very carefully. See what qualities we have and what we don't have. Okay, please judge yourself. Don't judge others, judge yourself. Materialistic devotee does not purposefully study the shastra and try to understand the actual standard of pure devotional service. तो वो शास्त्रा का अध्ययन नहीं कर रहा, स्वाध्याय नहीं करता. Does not try to understand the standard of pure devotional service. कि pure devotional service की क्या demands हैं, क्या standard है, वो समझना नहीं चाहता. Consequently, he does not show proper respect to advanced devotees. Advanced devotees को वो ordinary humans, ordinary लोगों में और उसमें उनको कोई difference नहीं दिखता. Does not show proper respect. He may, however, follow the regulative principles learned from his spiritual master or from family. जैसे family में tradition है कि चलो deity worship करनी है या meat नहीं खाना या alcohol नहीं पीनी, तो वो mundane level पे वो traditions थोड़ा follow करते रहता है या उसके गुरु ने उसको सिखाया है तो करता रहता है. Or a family who worship the deity. He is to be considered on the material platform. Although तो उसकी श्रद्धा है, वो एथिस्ट नहीं है, उसकी श्रद्धा है, पर श्रद्धा बहुत कोमल श्रद्धा है. उसका इतना रुझान, इतनी अटैचमेंट, इतनी रति, इतना आसक्ति नहीं है भगवान के लिए कि वो बहुत डिटेल में जाके अध्ययन करे, सटलिटीज को समझे, सटल मूड्स को समझे, डिवोटीज की मर्सी के लिए उनकी सेवा करे, डिवोटीज में भगवान को देखे और उनको प्रॉपर रिस्पेक्ट या कॉन्डक्ट शो करे, इतना उसको नहीं है श्रद्धा. But he is trying to advance in devotional service. Such a person is Bhakta Praya or neophyte devotee or Bhakta Abhas. आभास हम बोलते हैं जब हम कोई काम ऑफेंसिवली करते हैं, तो ये ऑफेंसिव डिवोटी है, ये ऑफेंसेस करता है, अपराध करता है. जैसे हम कहते हैं ना नामाभास, ऑफेंसिव नेम, हरि नाम चैंटिंग को बोलते हैं नामाभास. अब हम अक्सर नामाभास ही करते हैं, लाइक वी डोंट हैव शुद्ध नाम, वी डू नामाभास, वी डू ऑफेंसिव चैंटिंग. ऐसे ये भी भक्त है पर ऑफेंसिव भक्त है, भक्त आभास है. But for he is a little enlightened by, पर उसको आभास है, उसको थोड़ा आभास है, उसको थोड़ा ज्ञान है, थोड़ा श्रद्धा है, कोमल है लेकिन है. So लेकिन ये यहाँ से प्रोग्रेस कर सकता है. This is good. He is on the low rung of the ladder, but he is going to climb up. Mahaprabhu has said he will become an Uttam Adhikari one day. So he is enlightened by Vaishnava philosophy. So this is the qualities of a Kanishta Bhagwat or a neophyte devotee. Prakrita Bhakta, materialistic devotee. ठीक है, ये इसमें यही सब दिए हैं. Now I have quoted the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam also. I told you there are two main scriptures, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu and Srimad Bhagavatam. So this verse comes from Srimad Bhagavatam. He is to be considered on the material platform, although he is trying to advance in devotional service. ये जो पिछली verse थी वो श्रीमद् भागवतम और चैतन्य चरितमृत दोनों में आती है. Okay, I'll show you the श्रीमद् भागवतम verse also in a few. Okay, अब आता है मध्यम अधिकारी. फिर महाप्रभु ने मध्यम अधिकारी के बारे में क्या बोला? He says, शास्त्र युक्ति नाही जने दृढ़ श्रद्धावान, मध्यम अधिकारी से ही महाभाग्यवान. याः शास्त्रादिषु अनिपुना श्रद्धावान सातु मध्यमा. One who is not very expert in argument and logic based on the revealed scriptures, but though he is more expert than neophyte, and has firm faith, is considered a second-class devotee, and he is most fortunate, महाभाग्यवान. ये solidly situated है, इसका firm faith है, दृढ़ विश्वास है, ये कहीं जाने नहीं लगा. He is fixed in his determination to serve Krishna. शास्त्र युक्ति, काफी अध्ययन है उसको शास्त्रों का, लेकिन पूरी तरह से नहीं है. Does not know scriptural argument very well, but has firm faith. But he can. This is the devotee that will preach. And the other thing to understand is Uttam Adhikaris, pure devotees, also preach, but they have to come to the level of Madhyam Adhikari to preach. So they come down to the level of Madhyam Adhikari to preach. So ईश्वरे तद अधिनेषु बलिशेषु द्विषत्सु च प्रेमामतिरि कृपोपेक्षा या करोति स मध्यमा. Intermediate second-class devotee shows love for Supreme Personality of Godhead, is friendly to all devotees, very merciful to neophytes and ignorant people. Intermediate devotee neglects those who are envious of devotional service. So this we discussed already कि उसको भगवान के लिए प्रेम है, love है, friendly है devotees के लिए, merciful होता है. हम यहाँ पे love उत्तम अधिकारी के लिए भी बोलते हैं. So in our understanding, we should have love for Supreme Lord and for उत्तम अधिकारीs. We should be friendly to all devotees. We should be merciful to neophytes, मतलब ignorant people या low level people. We should be merciful and neglect or disregard, avoid, ignore the atheistic people that are envious of devotional service. जो भी लोग आपको गलत गलत बोलते हैं प्रभुपाद के लिए, इस्कॉन के लिए, कृष्णा को, ऐसे लोगों को इग्नोर या डिसरिगार्ड या if you cannot defend, then leave the room. Madhyam Adhikari shows mercy to ignorant people who are innocent and non-blasphemous. So to non-blasphemous people, he will show mercy. This is again Madhyam Adhikari ka. This is the second stage or intermediate platform. So again, loves or adores the Supreme Lord. Devotees, he makes friends. Innocent people, he tries to awaken their dormant love by preaching, by cultivating, by engaging them, by giving them service. And atheistic people, he will avoid. So this distinguish of 4 categories should be there for Madhyam Adhikari. फिर आया उत्तम अधिकारी. Now this is the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. There are few verses. Srimad Bhagavatam gives the full classification of Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttam Adhikari in verses 11.2.45, and it keeps going till about 50 verses or so. Sarvabhuteshu ya pashyad bhagavad bhavam atmana word. See the atmana word? भूतानि भगवती आत्मनि, आत्मनि वर्ड आया फिर से. एशो भागवत उत्तमा, this is Bhagvat Uttama, this is Bhagavatottama. A person advanced in devotional service see within everything the soul of souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, he always sees the form of Supreme Personality as the cause of all causes, understands that all things are situated in him. This is Uttamadhikari or Bhagavatottama. Atmani. Atmani means he sees everything in relation to Supreme. And he is completely very well situated in Shastras. Shastra Yuktaesh Sunipuna Drida Shraddha Janra Uttam Adhikari Se Tarae Samsara. One who is expert in logic, argument, revealed scriptures. Think of Prabhupada, who has firm faith in Krishna, is the topmost devotee. He can deliver the whole world. शास्त्रे युक्तौ च निपुणा सर्वथा दृढनिश्चये प्रोदा श्रद्धोधिकारी या सा भक्ता उत्तमो मता. One who is expert in logic and understanding the revealed scriptures, who has firm faith and conviction and deep faith that is not blind faith, deep faith, is to be considered a topmost devotee in devotional service. So these are, this is the topmost devotee, Uttam Bhagwat, most expansive vision. So Anupashyati, his vision is he sees Krishna in everything. So Bhagwan also says in chapter 6, verse 30 also, right? Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sa mai cha pashyati. That I see everywhere. He's not lost to me and I'm not lost to him. Consequently, he sees systematically everything in relation to the Supreme Lord. This is the most expansive vision. This is Prema Chakshu, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, Santa Sadaiva Hrideshu Vilokayanti, Yam Shama Sundara Hrideshu Vilokayanti, Govindamadi Purusham Tamuham Bhajami. So that is the vision of a, of a pure devotee. This is just a classification. Uttam, Madhyam, and Kanishta Adhikari. Again, they are strong and convinced. Madhyam Adhikari is convinced. Kanishta are weak and easily swayed, so their faith is weak. Their knowledge of the Uttam Adhikari is very strong. Madhyam Adhikari is good, but may not always be able to defeat the opposing opinion. Kanishta is very weak, cannot offer any arguments to opposing opinion. And these are Srimad Bhagavatam verses, again talking about the Uttam, Madhyam, and Kanishta Adhikari. I'll stop here. The verse that I was trying to quote is this. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sa cha me na pranashyati. That those who see me everywhere, I see them everywhere. Those to those people I'm never lost and they're never lost to me. तो जो मुझे सब जगह देखते हैं मैं उन्हें भी सब जगह देखता हूँ. तो इसीलिए उत्तम अधिकारी बनना is the goal of our life, to be able to see Krishna in everything and everywhere. I'll stop here. Anybody has any questions, doubts about this concept of Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam Adhikari? Was this concept new to some people? I want to know who was it. Was it new for some people? Who has not heard of this concept before? If you have heard, then please say yes, you have. If you've not, then otherwise I'll assume that you have not. You have?
Here, I was late also.
Yes, Mataji, that's okay. Please hear the recording. Have you heard of this concept of 3 types of devotees, Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam Adhikari?
Not much.
Okay. So these are 3 levels of devotees. We'll discuss more about them next time. Let's hear from Poonam Mataji. Mataji, are you now familiar, or were you familiar with this concept?
No, Mataji.
ठीक है, तो ये कनिष्ठ, मध्यम, उत्तम अधिकारी, ये क्लासिफिकेशन हमको आनी चाहिए. हमें पता होना चाहिए कि कौन या हम लोग किस लेवल पे हैं. तो ये समझना इम्पोर्टेंट है क्योंकि दिस कॉन्सेप्ट कीप्स कमिंग. सो प्रभुपाद भी अपने परपोर्ट्स में कई बार बोलते हैं टॉप क्लास डिवोटी, लो क्लास डिवोटी, सेकंड क्लास डिवोटी. व्हाट डज इट मीन? So we have to aim to become the second class devotee, the intermediate platform. So study of scriptures is very important for that. I'm putting the picture of another Uttam Adhikari, which is Narad Muni. You can see how he does not differentiate between anybody. So Mrigari ko bhi jaake unhone, Mrigari was so cruel. He was torturing animals, but even Mrigari he made a devotee. So they always see how to engage people in service of the Lord, that everybody has a potential, everybody has dormant love for Krishna. This is Nityanand Prabhu who gave mercy to Jagai and Madhai. And this is Prabhupada giving mercy to so many of the, people that were drug addicts and hippies and had completely deviated from any type of societal norms. They were not following any kind of social conduct. So he put them on the highest path of devotional service. And of course, I talked about Shivji, how he takes care of all the fallen people, the ghost goblins, जिनका कोई आश्रय नहीं होता.
माताजी, ये मृगारी का क्या है? मृगारी कौन था?
माताजी, मृगारी एक हंटर था, एक जो जंगल में रहता था. माताजी, बहुत अच्छी कहानी, इसकी कभी पूरी कहानी करेंगे डिस्कस. लेकिन
माताजी, आपने मुझे बहुत सुना है मृगारी नाम, बट उसका स्टोरी नहीं पता है ज्यादा.
माताजी शॉर्ट में स्टोरी बताती हूँ, बहुत सुंदर स्टोरी है. बस इतना है कि वो हंटर था और उसकी क्वालिटी ये थी कि वो एनिमल्स को सिर्फ मारता ही नहीं था, बल्कि वो उनको अधमरा छोड़ देता था तड़पने के लिए. और वो तड़पते थे, तड़प तड़प के मरते थे. मतलब इट्स नॉट दैट ही इज इन किलिंग देम, And one day Narad Muni was going through the forest and he saw all these half dead animals, that were being tortured. They were trying to leave the body and not able to, because they were just suffering. And Narad Muni, the pure devotee, Uttam Adhikari, Uttam of Bhagavatam, he could not tolerate this. And एक के बाद एक उसको उनको ये दिखते गए ऐसे मरे हुए अधमरे जानवर. And he traced him these animals to मृगारी. तो उन्होंने बोला कि ये क्या है, ये क्या कर रहे हो? तो उन्होंने बोला कि मैं ये करता हूँ. तो उनको नारद मुनि ने सिखाया. कम से कम उन्होंने बोला कि पूरा तो मार दो, पूरा तो मार दो. हर एक को हर नेक्स्ट लेवल की टीचिंग दी जाती है. तो ऐसा नहीं कि नारद मुनि उनको मारने को बोल रहे हैं, पर वो कह रहा था कि मैं बिना मारे नहीं रह सकता. दिस इज माई टीचिंग, दिस इज माई ट्रेनिंग, दिस इज माई क्वालिफिकेशन, दिस हैज बीन माई लेगेसी फ्रॉम माई माई पेरेंट्स. उन्होंने मुझे यही सिखाया है कि ये मेरी लिविंग है. दिस इज हाउ आई मेक माई लिविंग, बट आई डोंट नो हाउ टू किल देम कम्प्लीटली. आई कैन जस्ट किल देम. तो नारद मुनि ने उनको बोला अच्छा पूरा तो मार दो. तो इसमें इसमें बहुत सारी टीचिंग्स है माता जी. हम किसी दिन पूरी कहानी करेंगे, बहुत डिटेल में, बहुत अच्छी कहानी है. हम हर एक को नेक्स्ट लेवल की टीचिंग देते हैं. जैसे कि कोई स्मोकिंग करता है, एक 1 पैक स्मोकिंग करता है, 16 या 12 सिगरेट स्मोक करता है एक दिन में, उसको बोलते हैं कि 10 कर लो, 8 कर लो, कम कर दो. तो ऐसे नहीं कि हम उसको बोल रहे कि 8 सिगरेट स्मोक करो, पर जो तुम पहले करते थे उससे कम कर दो. तो इसी तरीके से ये बोला कि कम से कम अधमरा मत छोड़ो, इससे तुम्हें और ज्यादा कर्मा लग रहा है, कम से कम पूरा तो मारो, क्लीन कट मार दो. ऐसे ऐसे करके नारद मुनि ने, उसको समझ नहीं थी कि क्यों मुझ पे इतना प्रॉब्लम है. अल्टीमेटली नारद मुनि ने उनको कन्विंस कर दिया. कन्विंस्ड पीपल कन्विंस अदर्स. उत्तम अधिकारी कैन कन्विंस एनीवन, जस्ट लाइक प्रभुपाद. उन्होंने उनको अल्टीमेटली कन्विंस कर दिया कि तुम ये काम छोड़ दो. तो मृगारी ने बोला कि अगर मैं ये काम छोड़ दूंगा तो मेरे घर का मुझे खाना कहाँ से मिलेगा? नारद मुनि ने बोला तुम काम छोड़ दो, खाना मैं दूंगा. आज से लेके पूरी जिंदगी का खाना तुम्हें मैं दूंगा. ठीक है, बस एक शर्त है, हरि नाम का जाप करना है, हरि नाम का जाप करना है एवरी डे. तो मृगारी ने कहा ठीक है, लेकिन मुझे खाना मिलेगा कल से? उसने कहा, उन्होंने नारद मुनि ने कहा हाँ, कल से खाना मिलेगा. यू वोंट बिलीव माता जी, उसने अपना ये काम छोड़ दिया और उसने ये हरि नाम जाप करना शुरू किया. नारद मुनि और उनके साथ पर्वत मुनि थे. पर्वत मुनि नारद मुनि के बहुत अच्छे मित्र हैं. बहुत हमने भी पढ़ा ना, मित्रता होनी चाहिए डिवोटीज के बीच में, आपस में फ्रेंडशिप होनी चाहिए. ऐसे मित्र हैं पर्वत मुनि और नारद मुनि. उन्होंने उनके घर खाना छोड़ाया. जब कुछ दिन लोगों ने देखा कि जानवर मरने बंद हो गए और ये व्यक्ति कहाँ तो इतना गिरा हुआ था, कहाँ ये भगवान का नाम लेने लगा है, तो उन्होंने उसके घर खाना भिजवाना शुरू कर दिया. फिर नारद मुनि को जरूरत नहीं थी, इन्होंने खाना भिजवाना शुरू कर दिया. फिर एक दिन बहुत टाइम बाद पर्वत मुनि ने बोला नारद मुनि को कि ये जो वो जो हंटर था, उसको मिलके आते हैं, देखते हैं उसका क्या हाल है, उसको खाना मिल रहा है या क्या हुआ, तुमने उसको हरिनाम सिखाया था, करता है या नहीं करता चैंट. मिलने जाते हैं. मिलने गए. दोनों पति पत्नी बिल्कुल ट्रांसफॉर्म्ड. बिल्कुल जैसे वो कितने गंदे से रहते थे, अनक्लीन थे, मरे हुए जानवर की बदबू आती थी, वही खाते थे. अब वो प्रसाद खा रहे थे रोज. उनको गांव में से प्रसाद आता था, और अगर नहीं आता था तो नारद मुनि भिजवाते थे, है ना. और रोज प्रसाद खाते हैं और मेजर हरि नाम चैंट करते हैं. पूरा दिन हरि नाम का भजन करते हैं. जैसे ही नारद मुनि और पर्वत मुनि आए, दे डिड लाइक साक्षात दंडवत प्रणाम कि इन्होंने हमको, दे हैव डिलीवर्ड अस. बहुत बहुत बढ़िया कहानी है माता जी पूरी. उसकी इसमें बहुत शिक्षाएं हैं इस कहानी में, इस मृगारी की कहानी में. बट यू कैन सी दैट प्योर डिवोटी को सरेंडर करने से, उसकी बात मानने से क्या होता है. तो इसलिए
यस.
हमको बात माननी चाहिए प्योर डिवोटीज की, बिकॉज दे हैव सीन अनुपश्यति, दे कैन सी द ट्रूथ. They see absolute truth everywhere. They see Krishna, who is absolute truth everywhere. So with our limited understanding, sometimes we don't understand things, but if we submit humbly to the representative of the Lord, that is as good as surrendering to Krishna, because they have seen the truth and they can. तो प्रभुपाद के जितने भी डिसाइपल्स थे, उनकी यही क्वालिटी थी. बिना क्वेश्चन के दे विल, जो प्रभुपाद ने कहा वो वैसे करते थे. बस उनको कृष्णा के बारे में नहीं पता था, उनको कृष्णा से कोई इतनी अलीजियंस या अटैचमेंट भी नहीं थी, रति भी नहीं थी, प्रेम भी नहीं था, लेकिन उनको उन कृष्णा के परफेक्ट रिप्रेजेंटेटिव से प्रेम था. उनको प्रभुपाद के लिए वो कुछ भी करते थे. उनको उनके लिए बहुत प्रेम था, बहुत अलीजियंस थी, बहुत अटैचमेंट थी, बहुत रति थी, और वो करने से वो तर गए. तो अब आज जो आप मूवमेंट में, हमारी इस्कॉन मूवमेंट में जो देखते हो इतने प्योर डिवोटीज, दे हैव बिकम व्हाट दे आर बिकॉज ऑफ प्रभुपाद्स मर्सी. So Prabhupada gave them Krishna. So इसलिए we should also be able to identify the pure devotees, the uttam bhaktas, the उत्तम भागवत devotees, महाभागवत devotees, and surrender to them. इसलिए ये वर्सेस हमारे लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि हमें देखना है कि किस तरीके के, और हमको खुद को मध्यम अधिकारी लेवल पे आना है, क्योंकि दिस इज अ प्रीचिंग मिशन। और जब प्रीच करते हैं तो इट इज इंपॉर्टेंट टू डिस्टिंग्विश बिटवीन द 4 टाइप्स ऑफ डिवोटीज, 4 टाइप्स ऑफ पीपल, कि कौन इनोसेंट है या फेवरेबल है, सिंपल है, कौन अनफेवरेबल, मतलब अभी वो फेवरेबल नहीं, अनफेवरेबल है, अभी वो एथिस्टिक है या आर्गुमेंटेटिव है या कॉम्प्लिकेटेड पर्सन है, अभी वो उसको इस दुनिया में ही रहना है मग्न, और कौन भगवान का भक्त है जिनसे हमें मित्रता करनी है, और भगवान और गुरु कौन है जिनसे हमें प्रेम करना है। ये 4 लोगों का हमें पता होना चाहिए, क्योंकि हमें प्रीचिंग करनी है। जैसे हम कल हरि नाम पे जाएंगे, किसको एंगेज करना है, किसको नहीं करना है, ये हमें पता होना चाहिए, किसको डिसरिगार्ड करना है, इससे दूर रहो थोड़ा, मेंटेन द डिस्टेंस। ये कौन, ये हमें जजमेंट आनी चाहिए। Okay, that's all I had to share. We'll stop here unless anybody has any questions or corrections or realizations. Nagarchandra Prabhu, you want to share something?
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. Wonderful class. I did not know about these concepts being mentioned in these two um, scriptures, Sri Isopanishad, and you said no, Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrit Sandhu, and then Chaitanya Charitamrit. You are muted. You said something I can't hear.
Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. These two have the original, और फिर वहां से लिया गया है इसमें श्री उपनिषद में तो सिर्फ परपोट में है ना, प्रभुपाद ने तो परपोट में डाला ना।
Oh, okay, thank you. I have a question. So, Sri Isopanishad, very basic question. Sorry, I must have missed it. I'm sure you told this. Where was this? Where is Sri Isopanishad? Kya hai? What is it? Who is speaking it to whom? Or
सो उपनिषद में कई बार सिर्फ बताया नहीं जाता कि कौन बोल रहा है, ये सिर्फ एक कोई महाभागवत डिवोटी, कोई बहुत सुपीरियर भक्त है भगवान का, जो भगवान की ग्लोरिफिकेशन कर रहा है। इट्स नॉट मेंशन कि कौन, जैसे कुछ उपनिषद में बताया जाता है, जैसे कि कठोपनिषद जो है वो कहानी थी, वो कहानी की फॉर्म में है, राइट। इसी तरीके से केन उपनिषद जो है वो कहानी की फॉर्म में है। Prabhupada has not given us translations to those, but Sri Ishopanishad is a bhakta, obscure bhakta, we don't know who.
okay, thank you. And then other thing I was thinking, couple of things was about. I think I'm surprised nobody asked this question. You mentioned it, but maybe I think either everybody knows the answer or didn't think about it. So I just wanted to bring it to light. That you mentioned that the Uttam Adhikari needs to come down to the level of Madhyam Adhikari to preach. So just wanted to elaborate on that. That did anyone think as to why does an Uttam Adhikari need to come down to the level of Madhyam Adhikari to preach?
Yeah, you want to share? Or you want me to share?
Yeah, I can share.
Sure.
I wanted to see if anybody has
Actually,
insight into this.
the
Anybody
reason
else?
I did not elaborate, because the next verse we did not cover, and next verse also talks about the qualities of a Mahabhagavad devotee or Uttam Adhikari. So the mood of Uttam Adhikari is not conveyed properly yet. But yes, please share, and next time we'll discuss again. But is the point clear? Nirbhay Prabhu's point understood, that Uttam Adhikari will come to the platform of Madhyam Adhikari to preach. That's what he's saying. So why is that? ये बता रहे। Please share.
Okay. So Uttam Adhikari needs to come down to the level of Madhyam Adhikari to preach, because the mood of Uttam Adhikari is that everyone is better than me. So if you're in the mood that everyone is better than me, then how can I give you something, right? The energy flows from higher to lower. So an Uttam Adhikari, if he stays in the mood of Uttam Adhikari, which is full of humility, full of perfection, that everybody has Paramatma in them, they are all, and I am the most fallen. If you see our songs that we sing, Vaishnav bhajans, and you will realize that those they say in our bhajans, all it is mentioned ki kitna, they are saying that I am a dog, I am a ऐसे senior devotees, Narottam Das Thakur, jo puri life they are given to Krishna and chanting and everything. They are calling themselves like dogs. They're in the mood of Uttam Adhikari. The bhajans are in the mood of Uttam Adhikari. Because they are thinking that they are actually lower than everybody else. He's saying, I am such fool that I miss, I'm not, we were doing that song, Karchit, that in Kevalashtikam, that I'm such a fool that I've thought about this Harinam, which was Kachritam Nahi Vismarta, that I've thought about this Harinam, which was a diamond. I thought that this is like Kanch. This is like a glass. So, but that is the thought of the Uttam Adhikari, that they are the most fallen. And if I feel that I'm most fallen, then how can I preach to somebody? You cannot preach to somebody if you feel you are the most fallen.
Yeah.
Right? तो सबको मेरे से ज्यादा पता है। जैसे युधिष्ठिर महाराज की स्टोरी आती है, एक बार युधिष्ठिर महाराज को और दुर्योधन को भेजा गया around to see if they can find somebody who is more fallen. No, what was the thing?
He better qualities हैं, ये क्या है ऐसा
Yeah,
कुछ?
something like that. So Yudhishthir came back saying that I could not find anybody who is less qualified than me. I could not find anybody that is less qualified than me. And Duryodhan came back saying that I could not find anybody who's more qualified than me. So that is the difference, that Uttam Adhikari is in the mood that I don't know anything more to teach to, or preach to anybody. The other thing I wanted to mention is also about that is correct, that Madhyam Adhikari is when we're talking about levels, is the preaching level. But in our mission, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has opened it to everybody. Prabhupada has opened it to anybody. Even if somebody attends one class or hears about Krishna or reads from one page of Srimad Bhagavatam, as long as you're repeating the information given in disciplic succession, you can repeat it without any, second thoughts. You don't have to feel that कि oh nahi मैं तो कनिष्ठ अधिकारी हूँ, how can I preach? We said that only madhyam adhikari can preach. We are all कनिष्ठ अधिकारी level, right? I'm level of कनिष्ठ अधिकारी, lowest level.
You have to basically force yourself to come to the level of madhyam adhikari very quickly.
Yes.
Very
So just
intensely.
try. So that is what Prabhupada said. There was a child during one of his classes who said, he called him, a little child gave him a cookie and said, who is the Supreme Personality of God? And she said, Krishna. Then, okay, she can preach. So that is how we need to understand about preaching when we go for book distribution or other things, that as long as we are speaking from the scriptures, from the words of the pure devotees, we can spread them as it is. Hare Krishna. I just wanted to make this.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Thank you, Nirvi Prabhu, for sharing. Yeah, we'll discuss more on that, on the mood of the Uttam Adhikari next time. ये शिवरात्रि कल थी, आज है, यहाँ पर आज है, right? इंडिया में कल थी?
Friday only.
Friday only. Okay. I'm just going to stop the recording for in a couple minutes. Vancha kaltarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo